Hey guys, and welcome back to me, Ben, playing Cities Skylines. Today, my CityBuilder channel on YouTube. We are back in Springvalley with a special session, like a special planning episode. Today, I'm going to lead you through the process of me playing Cities Skylines and what is actually the big kind of idea behind Springvalley and the surrounding districts or tiles that I still have to fill. And yeah, first of all, just to explain it to you, I took some screenshots, in-game screenshots of the whole area. I went back to Photoshop, stitched them together as best as possible. I know there might be a couple of glitches here and there, but hopefully not too many of those. And what I did afterwards is I went to my favorite drawing app and I took the pen and I just tried to create a grid for the outskirts for industrial planning and whatnot. So yeah, I'm more than happy to lead you through this process from now on. So let's dive right into my drawing session here. See you in a bit. So after setting up all the colors and pens and whatnot, I'm drawing like with a yellow line. I'm continuing the arterial roads that I'm planning to have in my city. So I'm following the shoreline of the river here, just to make sure that I'm not forgetting about those things here. And as you can see, I at least want to follow kind of a pattern here. Because for me, the essential thing to get to know is that like I want to break up the grid of my downtowny area in the center of the map, and here I'm trying to draw like a nearly perfect, almost perfect line alongside the highway that's in there, and I'm continuing down west to the other shoreline and the rest of the river, which ends up in kind of a huge basin where both rivers end up, and I'm continuing that grid even further north just to make sure that everything's kind of set up. And here, well, the last line that I drew is actually, yeah, it isn't really a mistake, but I'm thinking about, and this is also the reason why I'm introducing another color here right now after even switching layers, because I want to keep my roads kind of separated. So I'm drawing all the highways into my layout now as well, and I'm marking intersections with kind of a circle, so that I get a better idea of when I'm having a look at this map, at this kind of drawing later on, so that I still have a full understanding of what I was actually intending to do there. As you can see, I'm following existing highways just to make sure that I'm not forgetting about anything here. The same goes for the ones further down south, in the south of Springvalley. And from there, I'm trying to imagine how and where I would need or could have future intersections. But now, since I made this like beginner's mistake of not using any layers here, and I'm sorry for that, but you get, I think, the basic understanding now what I'm doing here and how I'm planning. So let me start over with that, and I'll begin with the yellow lines for my arterial roads at a bigger scale. So just give me 1 second to continue with that. Zooming all out of the map just to make sure. So first of all, painting down the highways, the existing highways, marking interchanges, intersections between them, following all the highway sections, just to make sure that I'm not missing anything here. And I'm honestly not 100% sure whether this highway that goes right through the middle of my city is actually a good idea, but yeah, I'll figure that out as soon as I start expanding my cities and replanning my downtown area. I think that makes way more sense. And yeah, now you can see me marking the intersections that I have or will have in the near future. I just made a small mistake here with not drawing correctly. So I think this is the stage where I'm trying to be as precise as possible. If needed, in some cases it's definitely not needed, but yeah, just want to make sure to be as precise as possible. And now you can see me extending further up north, another highway that leads through the currently countryside, but later on it will be again some kind of countryside, and I'm closing down everything even up in the southwest of Springvalley. By adding another highway here, now you can see me adding a new layer for my arterial roads, which is also the reason why I'm kind of zooming in there. I'm just making sure that I'm getting straight lines here. And you can see me, I'm extending the existing arterial roads up to some point, and using the existing grid as kind of a baseline, or yeah, just to make sure that I'm like sticking within the current grid, because I obviously don't want to change that completely. The reason why I'm extending the grid that much further up north is because thanks to the observation when I had a look at Google Maps at some North American cities, they tend to still stick to that kind of nitty-gritty grid even in the suburbs. So what I'm planning to do, and you will see that at a later stage as well, because I'm obviously marking the districts that I actually want to have. So right now I'm at the stage of filling out existing arterial roads, just to make sure that I'm not forgetting anything here. Marking my roundabout and also the other roundabouts further to the west. They will follow at a later stage. I just want to make sure that I'm not missing on anything that's already existing. And this is kind of a challenge at that stage to plan, but you can easily see like the flaws in the current, well, if it's a flaw, well, let's call it flaws in the current city design, because I'm losing, I think, a lot of potential traffic flow, good traffic flow, due to the fact that I kind of misorganized my arterial roads here. Maybe that's kind of natural, but I think at some point in time cities or towns will start to think closely and deeply about how they can extend the grid or keep at least stick to a grid. I grew up in Europe, and Europe is not really famous for gritty cities, but it always fascinates me about North America because you guys, you're planning things out very, very nicely, I think. But on the other hand, I think our cities over here, they are most likely more interesting because we are not having that kind of grid. But obviously you have to get along here, you have to learn it, how to navigate through our cities. So both have like their advantages and disadvantages, no matter which kind of approach you're taking. So here you can see me extending the arterial roads further down to the west side of the river and also up to the north, following the highway. And now I'm starting to draw in the first grid-like kind of arterial roads, but obviously not all of them will be filled at a later stage. At least I'm not planning to do that, to be honest, because I want to keep the city realistic, and at some point in time you have to make the decision, how far are my suburbs actually going up north, east, south, west, whatever. And you can see me making that decision pretty soon here. And again, I'm following that pattern that I want to have arterial roads following or flowing around, following the flow of the highways, actually, just to make sure that there are lots of options for people to navigate through town. And I'm following up the river further to the west, just to make sure that I have another connection up there that I can utilize for other industries, but that will follow in a second. So just give me 1 second to finish up the drawing here. I'm fast forwarding things for you now, but I don't want to let you wait for too long, actually. And there you can see me already planning ahead, further intersections that will be important at a later stage of the town, because obviously the more highway connections you have, the easier it gets for people to come into town. But I will also have loads of industrial traffic coming in and out of the city, so I just want to make sure that the option is at least there. And maybe I'm even lacking some kind of interchange, or at least on and off ramp on the west side of the river, where the highway is really next and close by the arterial roads here. So now I'm setting up another layer, and this is where it gets interesting. First of all, I'm starting to lay down some districts here that will give me enough room and potential to grow in the future. So I'm starting with industrial first. So as you can see, this will be forest industry, because it makes sense. There's a lot of dense forest there, so I will try to pack and sneak everything into those 3 to 4 squares, or 3 1/4 squares, and as best as I can, because I want to have my hatchlings and seedlings, everything there. I want to have my whole forest industry in one part of the town, if possible. At a later stage, I might even consider to utilize the southwest part of the city as well, because there's another huge forest, but that's something I'll have to see. This will be like the light blue thing will be reserved for farming. Again, including all the post-production, like all the industries that are important to take care of the farming there. Then I thought, it might be helpful to have another grid there, another grid line, because I think for farming in specific, the place that I'm using right now is maybe not enough to make sure that all my city's needs are covered. So I actually want to use 2 squares for that. I could potentially put the industry up in the hills and have my farming happening further, in the southern part of those 2 squares. Over there, I will have one central, this marks basically the central downtown area of my city, just to remind myself of what I'm planning to do. And the next one that follows are, I think in blue, the suburbs that I'm planning to have in the near future. And suburbs meaning loose grid, low density housing, less focus on traffic. It's just about filling up those spaces, but I'm, as you can see, not filling up every space there. The eastern part that I just marked in blue will be focusing, or will be specifically for people with higher incomes, because it's close to the river, it's a beautiful place, it's surrounded by trees, it will be a quiet spot, and it's absolutely close to downtown, to the financial centers, to all the offices and everything else that's important for my city. And then I realized, there might be another good spot for another highway connection. So I decided to go for, or at least I'm deciding to go for another highway connection that leads from the south to the eastern part of the highway. So I'm kind of building another interchange there, just to make sure that I'm giving all the cars and industries enough options to get in and out of my town, and the transport and everything else. The one thing I didn't take care of in this planning here is the train line, because the train line is not that obvious yet. There are 2 train lines existing on this map, as far as I can tell from what I've seen. And these areas that I just marked roughly in dark blue are again some more outskirts that I'm planning to have, but again this will be more like a low density, loose grid, beautiful kind of neighborhoods with cul-de-sacs and whatnot. The purple, but later on now red part is reserved for natural reserve, so I want to build some park-like recreational area for people to spend their holidays there, or at least their free spare time that they are having. And further up north and I'm planning to have another natural reserve there because there is a beautiful mountainside, and I want to make sure that there are kind of some hiking trails, some tents, some kind of natural places where you can go to relax and take some time off from the downtowny, busy, bustling city area. And last but not least, there is another plan that I'm following, and I will tell you about this in a second. So right now I'm just trying to blend, show you, I just would like to show you again the whole roadmap and the whole layout that I added to my town, to my city of Springvalley. So here you can see first the highways, then the yellow arterial roads, and now you see all the districts coming up. So I think it will be a nice bunch of work that needs to be done here. I'm not yet sure, to be honest, what I'm doing with the lower left corner, like in the southwest of my city. I'm not yet sure about this. Maybe some industries, maybe again some mixture of industry and residential, probably some small commercial zones. But knowing from my gaming experience in Cities Skylines, you usually need a lot of space for industries in your town. So I might be grateful to have that room to expand even further. But that's at least some of the initial planning for the next, I would say, 5, 6, 7, 8 episodes at least. And now I think hopefully you have a good understanding of what I'm planning to achieve here. So I'm closing that for now, and I would like to thank you again for tuning in, for listening to my planning session here. I might introduce one of those in the near future pretty soon, as soon as I'm getting closer to maybe replanning my downtown area a little bit and moving houses and roads and whatnot, just to make sure that it gets a bit more of a downtown vibe instead of some high rises in some parts of the city, and the rest is still low density. But I want to have it really high risey like New York, Tokyo, whatnot. I'd like to thank you again for joining me. If you haven't followed me yet, I would really appreciate you leaving a like, leaving a comment here. If you have any advice, any suggestions, any recommendations, please let me know down in the comments below. I'm more than happy to take them into account in case it fits my city build, but usually I'm able to incorporate something here and there into my city either way. So thank you for tuning in. Have a good one, and I hope to see you soon on my channel. Thank you. Bye bye.